Hi, I'm Dawn Curtis Hanley, principal at Anchor18 Events and Experiences. We are a boutique marketing and event production company. We specialize in just really, I would say, taking an event or an experience to the next level from like a strategic and creativity perspective. Like I always want to be pushing the envelope with our clients and making sure that we're really showcasing the best of their brand in anything that we produce.
Hi, my beautiful friend. so, I want to see. This is me where I want to say Donnie, but I'm like, no, I'm going to say Dawn. Be professional.
You can say Dottie.
Dawn. How are you doing, my lovely friend?
I'm good. I'm good. The world is a complicated place right now, but ever since this happened, I choose to just say, what are the gifts? What are the blessings? Let's, stay hopeful and optimistic. It's hard to always stay positive, but I think staying optimistic is, the key. And I've had actually a lot of great things happen to me in the last couple of months. And so I will always look back on this time as a period of transformation, but a period where um, a lot came to light and there's a lot to be grateful for.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree with you more. I keep telling everyone like we're moving so fast, and when we were growing up, we had time. We enjoyed our time, and it was like the world was a little. I mean, it was funny when you hear your grandparents saying the world was slower, but it really was
Yeah.
for us. And we are all moving so fast and so hard. And so I have told so many people this is like a really amazing time, like a moment of time, the abundance of time to do so many different things. And some people are like, oh my God, like, week 1, week 2, they freaked out. But now they're just like, I don't know if I want to go back to the way it was. It's actually very, very cool. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. But all right, so I want to know who you are. I mean, I know you, but I want the world to know, like, I mean, where did you start? Like, I mean, talk to us before the company. Where were you? How did you start? How did you get into this business?
Yeah, so I was a communications major in college, and 2 weeks after I graduated, I started working at Conventures, which is a big event management company here in the Boston area. Um, my biggest project that I worked on there over 4 years was the visit of the tall ships. And it was really just this extraordinary once in a lifetime experience. It was, it was a global event, with just so many ways to learn and grow. And it really was sort of the foundation for my career and my passion for bringing people together. So I worked there for a while, and then I spent about 12 years working in hospitality and hotels and restaurants, doing primarily marketing and communications. But I always found a way to sneak events into the annual marketing plan, because I just passionately believe that brands can really engage with their clients in a more meaningful way when they're able to connect with them in person. So after my hospitality stint, I was the executive director of marketing at Boston Magazine for 5 years or so. And again, that was 75 or 80 events a year that we produced there, including the big Best of Boston party. And that was great. That ended about 10 or 11 years ago, in the big 2009, crash. And I went out on my own. And
Wait. Before you go on, before you talk about like that you went on your own, I want to rewind a little bit. How old were you when you had that? I mean, when you were charged with doing the tall ships? The tall ships comes here. I mean, it was every 4 years that they do the tall ships? I couldn't remember how many years, but it doesn't happen every year. And
no.
that you were younger, but you were tasked to not just do a project that's coming into Boston and where the tall ships. It's a global event. The world is watching it.
Yeah.
Like, how old were you? What did you think about when you were saying like this is yours? And I mean, what were the highs and what were the lows of that experience?
So I was basically in my mid 20s. I started working on it, I think, when I was like 22 or 3. And when it ended, I was like 27 or something. So, or when it actually happened. So it was, I think, I think that the most like the way that I could say it was so all consuming. It really defined me for a number of years. And I was so passionate about it. And I met so many people. And I was so passionate about just the grandeur of the tall ships and what they represented for the companies or the countries that they represented. And, the people that were working, it was like this, we just had this like connection, this bond that would just live on for a really long time. It was really amazing. And I remember for the last 6 months or so, I didn't go to the grocery store once. I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner at my desk 7 days a week. I think I took off Father's Day to be with my dad in June, and I think I went to a wedding in May. But other than that, it was in July, and I worked 7 days a week, probably 12 to 14-hour days, and I loved every single minute of it. And when it came together, there was such a sense of satisfaction and pride. And obviously, it was a huge team, and I, played one small piece of part of it, but it was really amazing. And then when that ended, I sort of said, like, I was just burned out, obviously, from the whole thing. And so then I just said, like, I don't know what event. I remember investigating doing a hot air balloon festival in Worcester, a few months later. And I said, really, like, global tall ship event, hot air balloons in Worcester. I think I need to go in a different direction for a little bit. So I left there, and then my career took more of a marketing communications spin. But it wasn't long before the burnout, kind of faded into the background, and I was able to leverage events in my marketing and communications roles to really amplify the messages that we were trying to, and the stories we were trying to tell.
So now you leave, you burn out, but you've had this most amazing experience. One, are you still in connection with the people that you worked with, not only in Boston, but the global community that you worked with? Are you still in communication with them all these years afterwards? And then what led into Boston Magazine? Like, what was it that Boston Magazine had that was enticing for you? And what was that legacy that you left behind there?
So I'm in touch with a few people from the tall ships, like mostly in the Boston area, not necessarily globally. I mean, honestly, it was a while ago, and I was the youngest person on the block for most of it. So I'm sure most people have retired or, whatever by now. But I still have friends that I met during my tall ship days that I still stay in touch with. And for Boston Magazine, I had been working at the Seaport and World Trade Center, and got a call from Boston Magazine about whether or not that would be a role that I would be interested in. And it just seemed really exciting. And I had been at the Seaport for 6 or 7 years. We had opened the Seaport Hotel. Things were kind of up and running. And I felt that I could use my talent and my creativity maybe in a broader platform, supporting Boston Magazine. And so I accepted the position, and it was terrific. I mean, at that point, in the mid 2000s, I guess, or whatever, I mean, Boston Magazine was just a hugely respected, city publication, and the journalism was extraordinary. But the clients were extraordinary. And of course, I was on the business side, so we were supporting the sales and in that side of things, and creating events and experiences for brands like Infinity or Victoria's Secret or, you know, Valentino. I mean, it was fun. And it was, you know, I felt like we were connecting the people in the city who were, you know, active and engaged in, you know, in the, you know, in Boston, you know, business and Boston nightlife and all of it, and connecting them with local and national brands. And that was really fun. I mean, I guess my legacy there, I loved doing those Best of Boston parties. I did one in an airplane hangar at Logan Airport. I did one at Carson Beach in South Boston, and that was funny because Infinity was the presenting sponsor, and I had confirmed that the event would be on the beach. And then I went to my first site visit, and the DCR, the people that run the beach said, well, you can't bring a car onto the beach. What if a, you know, drop of oil got on the beach? And I panicked and was like, oh my God, you know, now what do I do? Because, you know, I mean, this car company is, you know, investing tens of thousands of dollars in this, and I can't even put a car there. So I hired a master sand sculptor to build a life-size replica of an Infinity on the beach. And it was the highlight of the whole entire party. Everyone loved it. Infinity was thrilled. And so, like, that's the kind of stuff that just, like, makes me happy.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's one of those things that, like, I love when someone's like, oh wait, there's a problem. All right, I have to fix it. How do I fix it? And everyone else would probably be like, I go, no, we have to get the car on the beach. And there was this constant, like, conflict. And the event would start, and people were like, what's going on? And at the end of the day, is people would be upset. You basically, like, literally, it was like, all right, this is my problem. I'm going to pivot, and boom, and it became even better. So I love hearing that. So now, like, I mean, so is there anything that came before Boston Magazine to your business, or you went from Boston Magazine to your business?
Well, so right after I left Boston Magazine, I took a position, contract position as a project manager for a sailing expedition around the Americas. It was called Around the Americas, actually, and it was a team of people led by David Rockefeller Jr. and the Pacific Science Center out in Seattle. And they had this idea of taking a 64-foot sailboat and literally drawing a circle around the Americas and sailing, like, north from Seattle through the Northwest Passage, down the eastern seaboard, around Cape Horn, back up, stopping at 52 ports. There was a onboard writer, an onboard photographer, an onboard educator, and an onboard scientist. And the expedition was really meant to draw attention to the threats to our, you know, the health of the oceans. And talk about another passion point. I mean, I just loved that project, and I spent about a year working on it, met so many people. And in fact, we're trying to replicate it. And there's a website called projectoceanwatch.com, and that is our project, and we're 10 years later trying to replicate that expedition. And now it's not so much about awareness of the oceans as it is about action, you know. So we're looking to unite the innovators and entrepreneurs in, you know, in ocean conservation and the blue economy to, you know, to find scalable solutions to the ocean's challenges.
God, that is just, I mean, that's like a dream moment right there for me, because
I know.
Well, I mean, being a Caribbean kid, I always say I'm a Caribbean kid. I need to be by the ocean. I need to smell the ocean. I mean, I'm very lucky that I moved to Marblehead 11 years ago, and it's the happiest moment where I look out my window and, like, there she is. I see the sunrise from her. I see the sunset from her. I mean, it's just, like, so calming in so many different ways. And to just do a project to be with with individuals that not only sail, but they respect the ocean. They respect it. They love it. They want to make sure that their children's get to have that same experience. Oh my God! Like, when that happens, I want to see it. I want to be whatever you need. I will.
Okay.
It's needed. It's just really needed, and I think that people are not paying attention to. There's just so many things to pay attention to right now that a lot of things are falling by the wayside. And so I think that it's such an important topic that people are not engaging with.
Well, I think the ocean seems so vast and people want to help, but they don't really know how. And so I think what we're trying to do is, the boat in a way is the sailboat, and the expedition is almost like a thread that we can weave, and tell the story about how we each play a role. Even if you live in Nebraska, you play a role in, the health of the oceans. And so that's the exciting thing. And, we have a component of it that's an educational component. And so how great if we can sort of build the next generation of ocean stewards, to care and protect, this beautiful thing that you and I both love.
I mean, I think that this is like the world that we're living in right now is really, really important for me as a former educator. That I feel that so many people are going to be adding all these different topics that have, again, everyone was moving so fast, and we're like, it's just easy to teach what is like the common thread. And now, because everyone's sitting idle, everyone's realizing, oh, wait, all these different things connect, and we need to start finding better ways to like rewrite the way that kids are being educated, because they're finding out on their own. I mean, they're savvy. They have the computers right at the tips of their hands. When they're doing reports, and when a family member loves something so much, they go the extra mile to bring attention to that. So if the schools could work with the students that already are advancing themselves by themselves, as well as the families, it would be a great way of everyone learning so much more than what would be expected.
Right. And I think so many times, like, adults learn through children's eyes, right? So I know with my own children, I mean, like they just grew up. If I don't, they wouldn't think of not wearing a bicycle helmet, or they wouldn't think of not using their seatbelt, or they would never not recycle. And, and they're so conscious of their, how much plastics they use and things like that. And I think, as an adult, we're sort of ingrained, but then you see the way that your children are learning, and, it influences you.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I mean, I was one of the last people to wear a seatbelt. I'm like, I don't want to ruin my outfit. I don't want to ruin my outfit until you were told, like, you will get a fine if you are caught without the seatbelt. I'm like, all right. And now, same thing. Like, I can't even function without, like, oh wait, okay, it's on. All right, always. So now tell me about your company, your dream, your baby. Like, why did you do it?
Well, I mean, it just kind of evolved, right? So I was working on Project Ocean Watch, and I always thought, I knew I had a good network, and I was pretty good at what I did. But I thought, oh, I could never have my own business, because how would I ever market myself? It's too hard. And, it's not what I do. But what I really have found over the years is, you just have conversations with people, and business happens. And I feel so grateful that, my business is, excuse me, all word of mouth. Excuse me. It's all word of mouth. And I have these amazing clients. I have a lot of nonprofit clients that I'm super passionate about the work that they're doing. I have corporate clients. We produce the Martha's Vineyard Food and Wine Festival each year, well, except not this year because of the pandemic, but, just a mix of things that keeps it interesting. I love the work that we do. There's a tremendous sense of satisfaction, when you plan, you work to plan an event, and then it comes together, and the people have a great time. The client is thrilled. I just love it. Obviously, right now is not a great time to be in the events world, but I do believe passionately in gathering people and connecting people. And I think it's going to be a while before the larger events happen, but I think there's a great opportunity with, smaller convenings and gatherings. And I also have a few people that I'm talking to about different projects that are sort of long-term projects, and, events and things that might not happen until next summer, which is exciting. And it's given me more time, honestly, to work on Project Ocean Watch, which I am always, going with my paid clients and haven't had a chance to work on that as much. So that's another gift of the last, few months, as I'm really sort of advancing that project.
Well, talk to me about the industry overall, because the pandemic happened, and people were just like, okay, what's really, like March, April, people are starting to see it rolling out globally as well as like nationally as well as locally. What do you think that most people are talking about how we will not see the next major event until probably spring of 2021. What does that do for the industry overall? Because you've seen the industry in the corporate level going through where you are a business owner. What does that mean for all levels of this industry? Will it survive this? Will it pivot in different ways? People are getting totally zoomed out. So what does that mean, or what do you think, if you had to predict, that would happen next to the evolution of the industry of all of things that you do?
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways, I've been having this conversation. In a lot of ways, it's almost like the forgotten industry, because yes, there are event planners, but there are also catering companies and tent companies and florists and AV and sound and rental companies. I mean, there's so many people impacted. And when you bring together a large group of people, the hotels are full, the restaurants are full. So, there is this interconnectedness with the events in tourism, in hospitality, in restaurants, in dining, and and all the different aspects and facets of event planning, and everybody's being impacted. The trade show industry, and is really in jeopardy. And it will come back. I do believe it will come back, but I also agree with you that it's not really viable to bring a large gathering together, probably until at least next spring. But also think about all the nonprofits that rely on generating, $500,000, $1 million to their operating budgets through their galas and their fundraising events. It's just really catastrophic for a lot of these nonprofits that are providing the support services that our communities need more than ever. So it's definitely it's definitely challenging, and I hope that our city and state and federal governments sort of look at the industry and see ways that there can be some support given. The PPP loans work for some people but not others, but I think as long as people this fall can feel like they're planning for this spring, it will lift the industry as a whole.
One of the things that I've been telling a lot of my clients, as well as friends, everyone, if you can make it to September 1st, you will be able to make it to 2021 January. Because it was like, you've made it this far. You've made this far, you've pivoted, you've found creative ways to making sure that people are aware that you are in existence. I think that a lot of small businesses, a lot of nonprofits were focusing so much on just the very as in like without that one event per year. And this has given that time of, a lot of them have become very creative. And very creative because people are still giving. People still want to be part of an organization. And sometimes they would have never heard of you. And so this is a great opportunity for them to come up with other ways to be seen. And then when we're able to have that big event, which it was at that one bang for their buck kind of a situation, you can't have it this way anymore. So they are finding ways and they're engaging with you, which is like a really, really great thing. So what are the a couple of the organizations that you are working with that you have been educating them, and what are the 1 or 2 points that you're telling them, like, this is something that you should focus on right now?
Well, one of my longtime clients is the Base. It's an urban youth baseball program.
Love them. We love them.
We love them. And I've just been trying to help them, think about different ways to do fundraising and, you know, they maybe didn't used to do peer-to-peer fundraising, but is that an opportunity? And they maybe didn't look at government grants, but now there are, you know, new opportunities for that. And, you know, I think you have to look at this as like a not a, what's the, you know, what's the bridge until we can have our next gathering, but, you know, how can you convene people? I mean, you know, as soon as baseball is being able to play again, you know, on the fields of the city of Boston, I don't mean you know, professional baseball, you know, inviting people out. I don't know, you know, a donor or two at a time to watch the, you know, some of the games is terrific. And, you know, and telling their story in a way that, that inspires people to donate and invest, really, right? We don't want people to donate to the base. We want people to invest in urban talent, you know, and invest in the young people that live in our, you know, communities who you know, they have as much talent as anyone. They just need opportunity. And that's what the base provides for them. I'm also working with Karen, addiction treatment centers, CARON, Karen, and you know, and it's the same thing, right? They're in the world of addiction and mental health, and we are producing a virtual event for them in the fall. But I mean, imagine like how the need has escalated for their services over the past few months, as people are, you know, really challenged with stress that is, you know, unprecedented, and you know, an addiction and the need, you know, for recovery treatment services is, you know, has never been greater. And so, you know, it's important for them to, you know, to share that story too, and not just focus on everything on, you know, buying a table of 10 at a gala, you know, but really, what is that, you know, what is that work going, you know, what is the work, and, you know, and what is your investment support?
Why don't you just rewinding just so that way everyone understands, when you say peer-to-peer donation, what does that mean for someone?
So a lot of times you might see, it's a common thing that you might see if on, you know, on social media, but I might be passionate for the base. And so I put out to my network, I'm trying to raise $5,000 for the
Okay.
base. And so if every one of my friends gives $25, I'm going to reach my goal, or, you know, $50 or whatever it is. And so you have these people that are passionate advocates for the nonprofit that are out there doing fundraising in small amounts for their, you know, so that if you have, you know, 100 people that each, you know, agree to raise $5,000, that's, you know, that's significant.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's like I haven't seen that before. So is that something that just came up? Because you think about when you're younger and you were wanted to actually sell like what's it called, Christmas paper, or like
yeah, Girl Scout cookies or something.
Girl Scout cookies, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like I was like thinking, like, I go, you know, all those things, and your parents would bring the sheet. And you're like, okay, my kid's selling it. Who's gonna do it? And everyone would do it because they remember who you are. So it's interesting that this has evolved into the social media aspect of people asking their peers. Because I mean, I run marathons, and I always run for a charity. When people see me running 26.2 miles, and they're like, oh my God, of course we're going to support that. But it's really interesting how people are really advocating for organizations that they believe in, and they're raising money in that way. So I think that the peer-to-peer it's amazing. It's smart. It's very, very smart.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the Pan Mass Challenge is, you know, and the marathon, for example, are two, but you know, it can happen. Like you can say that you're committing to buy a table of 10 at a gala, and, you know, and maybe you find 9 friends that want to, you know, each buy a seat with you. But this is a little bit different, and this is, you know, it doesn't have to be a high cost per person, but it's just the, you know, the value to the organization of having somebody who passionately believes in the work that they're doing, sharing it with their friends. And, you know, for many of us to give $25 or $50 or $100, you would do that, because if I say, oh, Jodi is so, passionate about Dana-Farber, and because she, lost her family member to cancer or something like that, like, I have love in my heart for you, and I would want to give, to an organization that you felt so strongly about. So I think that's, that's the that's the key to it, right? People give to what they're passionate about.
What would you say to somebody that is looking to start their business right now and get involved in something that they're passionate about? Because there's so many people right now that are at home still, although things are opening, but a lot of things are closing back again. And they're realizing more and more, maybe this is the time that I actually pivot. So what would you say to someone that is looking to start their own business, that has passion for something that they know that they're great at, but they're not a business person?
I think it's a great time, because you can actually be thoughtful right now, and you have the time to, like, as we said, sort of pause and exhale and plan. I think so many people think about starting their own business, and all they think of are obstacles. They think, what if I can't, make enough money? What if I don't have enough clients? What if I fail? How am I going to pay for health insurance if I'm not in, I mean, people just immediately see obstacles, I think. And so what I would always challenge somebody who is thinking about, launching a business is, of course there are challenges. There are challenges if you, work for a giant, Fortune 500 company or whatever. Just try to say, like, okay, I understand there are challenges, but look at the opportunity. And if not now, when? And, you can spend your whole life wrapped up in, in a job that you are pretty good at and, are respected in. But if it's not your passion point, and it's something that you really want to do, I mean, just try to see the possibility without getting jammed up about the challenges.
First day back in our new normal. Everything's fine. There's vaccine. Perfect world. What's your first day look like?
You know what, Jodi? I don't feel like it would be much different, because I've just been working along. I don't feel like I've had a radical change. I'll breathe deeper, because collectively I want us all to feel, safe and confident. And, I hate the heaviness that, so many people, I hate the anxiety for people. And that's the part that will make me so happy when that's gone, that, there's not so much sort of worry in the world. But for me, I already feel like I'm, on my path to post-pandemic. And so I just, it will just be one more big step where everyone around me feels, feels the same, I guess. I don't know.
The last question. If you had a professional ask and a personal ask, what would you ask for anyone and everyone that's watching you right now? What would be that thing, again, personally and professionally, that you would like to share?
So personally, I feel the world is in a place right now where I would like everyone listening and watching to be open-minded, to accept multiple points of view, and to really listen to their peers and, and people in the world. I feel there's so much, people are so closed off right now, and the divisiveness is really stressful to me. And I think, we've always been a country with a lot of, in a world with a lot of different perspectives, and it's a beautiful thing. And I just want people to be in a place where you can sit at a table with somebody who has vastly different views on things, but you can still appreciate the things that you share in common. So I guess that's my personal hope. And then my professional is, that people have the confidence and see the power and potential in gathering and convening and celebrating and experiencing life and, together.
I love it. So full disclosure to everyone knows that I literally, like 99% of everyone that I'm speaking to, I know, I've been with for years, and we met during we'll call it the tall ship years. But I am, and we've grown a beautiful friendship, which I adore you. And I'm like, I keep saying, Donnie, I love you so much. But I mean, even more so, I was beyond blessed, never saw it coming to be your dad's producer when I was a TV producer. And it was by far the greatest gift that I could ever have, to work with your dad. I mean, to be his producer, to hang out with him, to talk to him, get the best hugs from him. And so it is like, I mean, it was just our worlds came together in so many different ways. And then you always, whenever there's an event that you are promoting, you bring all of us together. You bring all the strong females, males, we'll call it, from all over the world. Like, you bring us together for your passions, and we will always, always, always have your back, because you have the biggest heart. You're an amazing mom. You do so much for our community. And and you're always smiling. You're just always smiling. You are one of my kindred spirits, hearts in my community, that I'm like, whenever I see you, I just know it's always going to be A-okay.
Oh, thanks, so, Jodi.
I mean, this is my selfish time where I get to see it, which I love. But I love that I watch you on Facebook. I watch you on LinkedIn. I see how you've grown. But I've also not only grown in your business, but I've seen how you've grown, because we grew up together in this of ours, and we're still here. We're still standing. We're still smiling. And I appreciate that you took the time to talk to me.
Of course. Well, this has been fun, and I appreciate you and what you're doing, and how you look to inspire people and share stories and support your friends in your network. And it's been a pleasure.
Oh my God, you are the best. When this is open, when we go back, I can't wait to go to your event. And I just can't wait to see each other,
I know.
And not like this, but I look forward to that time.
I know. And I miss hugs. Don't you miss hugs?
You know what? All right. So a couple weeks ago, I cheated. So Wrigley, the dog that everyone thinks he's my dog, and he's not my dog, but I have him all the time. His mom is like, she's like, I don't care. I have to hug you. And I'm like, I'm going to, because it was literally 3 months since the time I had a hug. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking the hug. And then we've had birthday parties with girlfriends that are only in town, and we've only gone to each other's houses. So we've been very, very good at, if we're going to see each other, it's only our very, very tight circle. And so one of our friends just turned 60, and we went for a group hug, and it was the best.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah. All right. So take care of yourself.
All right.
I will see you soon. I know I will see you soon. And
okay.
I can't wait to see more about the boats and the ocean. And that's going to be great. Thank you.
Well, okay. Take care. Bye-bye.